record it. Okay, so again, take your denominator, set it equal to 0 and solve, and that will tell you what number you're going to have as your factor here. Okay, and next to it, you're going to have just the coefficients, the numbers in front of your terms. So the number in front of x squared is 1, and then I have positive 6, and then I have negative 5. So I've taken the x's out. So that's my setup. Okay, I look at the denominator, I solve it for 0. That's how I got negative 4. And then I take all the coefficients out of the x's. Okay, and then leave a space and draw a line like that. This is what I call the action row right here. This is where all the action is going to occur. I got to scoot up. Action row. Again, that's not a normal term. Do not bring this up in other classes. Or maybe if you go to tutoring, like, hey, where's the action row? They might say, excuse me. Excuse in the back. That's a good answer.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, that would explain it, generally speaking. Like, oh, yeah, well, I don't know what she says. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is bring down that first number all the way down to the answer row at the bottom. Okay, that's always your first step. Bring that down, sit it right there. Okay, and now you're going to multiply, add, multiply, add. So, remember that? So what you're multiplying is this negative 4 times this number that you've brought down. That gives you negative 4. The answer goes in the action row. Yeah, action row. Okay, so multiply, and then notice I've put it in the next column over. So I had to go over a column to put my answer. Add those two together. You get 2. Now you're going to do that multiply step. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. So that goes in the next column. Add those two together. Okay, and you're done with the problem. But you have to know how to write your answer. You got to put it back together. Okay, so in other words, I have to put the x's back in. So what you need to know is you're going to start backwards. This is the remainder. That's the first thing you need to know. That's the remainder of the problem. Whatever you get at the end. If you get 0, that means there's no remainder. And then everything goes in order. So that's your remainder. That means 2 is your constant. A constant is the number without the x. And that means this one is your x to the first. If you had another number out here, that would be your x squared. If you had another number, it would be x cubed. So everything's in order. So your answer to this problem is 1x, which we write as just x. It's a positive 2, good, so you make sure to put plus 2. And then your remainder, negative 13. Now go back to the original problem to figure out what goes on the bottom of that fraction. You were dividing by x plus 4, so you do need to do x plus 4 for that. Your answers will look the same way they did in long division, but how you got there is better. Now that problem took a while because I was explaining, but when you're doing their own, they're going to just fly like that.
So,
You'll like it soon.
how do we know which one to use?
It'll tell you.
Well, you said there's going to be one where it gives us a choice.
If you have a choice, you should always choose this. It's much faster. Yeah.
It's
A lot less mistakes.
the same answer, just
Lot less mistakes. So if you have a choice, the only problem with this one is you can only use it if you have x to the first on the bottom. It's got to be x to the first. If you got x squared or x cubed, you can't use this method anymore. So that's one breakdown of it. Oh, look, I munched it together. That's what I was talking about, turn. I got to talk through this one. I wasn't going to, but I have to because there's no recording, I don't think, of the other one. Bring down that first number and multiply. 7 times 2 is 14. The answer goes in the next column. Add. Oh, really? It gets funky. Add those two together and you get 22. Then you got 7 times 22 is 154. 154 minus 5 is 149. And oh man, I changed colors. I gotta fix it. Okay, don't let those big numbers scare you. 7 times 149. Oi. 1043. Okay. Add those two together and you get 1044. And then your final answer, you go backwards. The last number that you got was the remainder. So I have 1,044 over my original divisor, which was x minus 7. It's positive, so I'm going to put a plus right there. I have 149 as my constant. That's the number without an x. It's positive, so I put plus. 22 is my coefficient of x to the first. 2 is my coefficient of x squared. Everybody's positive, so I have all plus signs there. That's easy enough, right?
Wait, was that not was it x to the third?
Your answer would be x squared.
That's right.
Yeah. If you start off with x cubed, you always drop an exponent there. So remember, this is your remainder. This is your number without an x. That's x to the first, and that's x squared. If you started with x cubed, you're going to end with x squared. That's a little thing right there. You take that number 4 that they want the function value of, that's what goes right there. You have 1, 5, negative 3. Do your synthetic division steps, okay, and the remainder is your answer. So 10 is what I get, and that's faster than plugging in 4 anyway. So 10 is what I get if I plugged 4 into that expression. So if they want function value, you're only going to give them this number right here. If they want you to divide, you give them the whole thing.
So if it's like f negative 10, you just put negative 10.
You just put negative 10 right there.
Just copy it
I
over.
thought it was 4 times.
Mhm.
Yeah, how'd you get 13?
Yeah.
Oh, did I do weird? Oh, it's 36. Yeah, sorry. So 33 should be the answer. Sorry, everybody. I added instead of multiplied. So it's 33. Well, that was fun. Good catch. Good save.